And I believe we are up. And welcome to Beacon Road Show. I'm Rich, I'm your host, and it's a pleasure to have you. Just to let you know, this is a live stream going to a podcast, and occasionally, tis the season for deliveries in Amazon, and occasionally there's going to be barking dogs. You're welcome. And part of this is we're going to keep this pretty laid back and as informal as possible. And this is going to flow where it goes. Not really sure what I'm going to say. And I kind of like it that way. So we're going to see what happens. Thank you for checking in, and I hope you stick around. But let me start the way I've always done in these, with a reminder that you're doing the best you can today and every day with what you have to work with. Whether it feels like it or not, you are enough and you matter. Please take extra special care of yourself today and every day. And ultimately, we're all doing our best to be our best and to be seen and heard, both by ourselves and the world around us. And we'll just do our best to try to stay in that container and get going. And I want to go with something nice and simple today. Let's talk about love. Yeah, I know. And let me talk about how I got motivated to do that. If you follow me on Facebook, you might have seen I did a little bit of a live in a picture of myself with a sign with a heart. And they've been flying around in my hometown here in Massachusetts last, say, week and change or so. And at first, I was pretty excited about it. And of course, there's that, we've all got that voice. And my first thought was, oh, crap. Did that get commandeered with other things? Is there a hidden meaning that's supposed to, did somebody commandeer love? Because there's a lot of things that should be universal that people tend to kind of hijack, to be honest with you. And so that little negative Nancy voice did kind of go into my head, I'll admit. And I was tooling around on Sunday, and I saw that there were people in front of the local Grange in the center of town that were selling them. It was like $5 each. And so I stopped. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get one of these. I had no idea what I'm going to do with it. It's kind of now sitting in the back window of my car. So, I asked the lady, hey, what's the story behind it? I'm really, I'm curious. And she told me she saw them up in Maine and people were putting them out in their yards, right after the election. And it was really all about how, wherever you are, whatever you're thinking, people just want love. They want to receive love. They want to give love. They don't really want to live in the fear and the other stuff that's being projected to us. And, she ultimately saw this and she was like, you know what? This would be a great thing to have spread all over town. And the money that they're taking for it is going to the local food bank. So you're getting to help people, and they're literally up all over the place. And it was a beautiful thing. And it really got me thinking a lot about that because ultimately it's what we want, it's what we want to receive, and it's what we want to give. Know what I mean? And now, when you try to talk about what it is and what it means, everybody's kind of got a little bit of a different slant on it. Everybody experiences it a little bit differently. And of course, there's so many different kinds of love. Of course, there's romantic love, there's, you know, family love, parent to child love. There's, platonic friendship love. There's I respect you love. I was looking it up on Wikipedia, and there's, oh gosh, there's so many different crazy categories, from compassionate to conjugal to courtly to friendship to love at first sight, love triangle, love addiction. You think you get the point. How you tie that all together? You kind of have to strip it down to basics, and ultimately it comes down to this: love is our life force. It's what keeps us going. We need it just as much as we need water and air and food and a proper temperature. And we not only need to receive it, but we need to be able to give it as well. And we give and receive differently. We always have, we always do. I was going to ask for comments if anybody's watching live. For some reason, it doesn't look like I'm getting them. So even if I can't respond in real time, I know I asked about it on my Facebook and on my Insta. What it feels like to you. How do you know? How do you feel something's love? And I did get some responses saying that, I am love. Love is everything. And, as I just mentioned, absolutely, it is our life force. But we're all different, and it means different things to different people. And I was looking for a lot of that, and I've gotten a lot of feedback, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But what I wanted to do before that was I wanted to play around with, sure, a lot of you listening or on the podcast or watching on the stream are familiar with Gary Chapman's 5 love languages. And it's something that's really important to note because it's not in just how we receive love, but also in how we give it. And so much of the process is, the communication about these things. And I'll go through the 5 really quickly, and I'll kind of go back, and I'd love to hear feedback. Unfortunately, I doesn't look like I'm seeing it in real time to be able to respond to it. So it looks like I'm going to have to come back later to people if they do comment. Of course, number one is, words of affirmation, encouraging words, affirmations, verbal validation. Um, how do you receive those? For me, they're more of a thing that I feel more comfortable giving than I do receiving, which is personally my own old stories and my own crap coming through. Because, my ego tells me that there is, you've heard that you were loved and, oh, you're wonderful, you're special, and all this stuff by a lot of people that have, you know, turned around and told you differently or shown differently or taking a swig, professional radio guy here. And that's kind of my my initial reaction when I see and hear those things is to, unless I know you really well and you're kind of in that circle, I tend to kind of be like, all right, we'll see. But yet I am pretty good at actually giving them. And I don't know if that's a disconnect. That's for people more intelligent than I am. Or it's just that we give and receive differently. Physical touch is an important one to me. Hugs are like my special vitamin. And I know that's the case for a lot of people, and both to give and to receive. Like when I'm in the right spot in the right space, I can turn into a huggy bear really quickly. The third one's receiving gifts. And I can receive. I'm getting better at receiving. Sometimes my initial thought is, well, this sudden pressure to reciprocate. And I've worked past a lot of that. Also too, back when I was younger, and I used to think that it was the most important thing to give gifts and shower people in that respect. I would basically buy things for anybody I felt like I needed validation from. And as I grew and as I connected with myself more, I started to see it for what it was, and I realized it was a thing that felt like a should rather than a thing that I felt I needed. These last two resonate a lot with me. Quality time and being able to connect with somebody one to one, and really just let your guard down, and we just kind of show each other the world, or our world according to us. And it's like an invitation to the secret garden. And that really, that speaks love to me. Because that tells me that the other person sees me as safe and trusted. And in turn, I'm able to give the same. And then the last one is acts of service, jumping in and helping out. And that's a big one for me. If somebody tells me they want to help me out or they really want to work with me on this ministry and be able to jump in and use their strengths and their skills to help complement what I bring, that hits the sweet spot. And that's a strong one for me to give as well. I love being able to make somebody's life just a little bit better. It's kind of the whole point in what it is I'm doing here. Um, so yeah, let me share some of the feedback that I did get from other people when I did post. And I'm going to continue to ask these questions. So, feel free to follow on my handles. Generally, it's at Beacon Road and the number 10. And pretty much anywhere. If I'm not there, then it doesn't matter. Just putting that out there. So I'll go back into that. Sandra on Facebook wrote, they do things with me that I enjoy, even if they don't really like to do these things, just because they want to spend time with me. They go out of their way to help me, even though they know I can do it myself. They just want to make it easier for me. And one thing in my current relationship is that I wouldn't ask him to change anything about himself, but he has somehow found himself changing certain things anyway. Like, he's usually a night owl, but since my jobs have required me to wake up early and go to bed early, he has changed his sleep schedule so he can go to bed with me and wake up with me, not because I want him to, but because he wants to. I've even told him he doesn't have to, and he says he wants to. That's really a powerful way of being seen and connected when somebody's wanting to do that because they want to connect with you. It certainly, feels like, in a way, an act of service and, certainly quality time because you know, he's making her a priority and deciding that this is what he wants in life right now. He wants to spend more time with her and be connected. And, it's definitely something that speaks to me as well. Nikki adds, to feel loved means I feel safe and secure. I know I can be myself without fear of being abandoned or ridiculed. It means my needs matter and my happiness is a priority to someone. When I am loved, I feel valued. Being seen where you're at in your whole and being accepted for that. How freaking powerful is that? There is such a power in feeling like you're seen. For a lot of people, it's the scariest thing in the world because, you're at your most vulnerable. You're at your biggest, you know, you're being seen at your core. And for a lot of us, and I won't go into this too much, but it's really an important piece. So many of us learn in order to be safe, we've got to shut that core off from the world. We disconnect. And we learn that we have to in order to survive or assimilate. That if you present yourself as who you are in your truth, in your soul, that you're not safe and the world doesn't want you in that space. So, with that in mind, it can be scary as hell to be seen and to be connected to in that spot. But oh God, when you do, it is the most beautiful, powerful, deepest feeling in the world. And I think we all want that in some way, shape, or form. And get to the next one. All right, looks like I am seeing comments now. Eliza, to your first question, I have not. I need to go look for that later. And to your second comment, yes, valued is a big one, and so is freedom. And I think, at least as I'm seeing it, that's all a part of it. If you can be yourself and be seen as yourself and know that you can be connected to there, it's empowering and it's freeing. It's like when it's, I imagine it's like skydiving, and when you hit the point and you hit the ripcord and the parachute opens and you're just kind of floating. You know you're safe. You've gotten past free fall, and you're just kind of taking it all in. And it can go anywhere, and you're all right. Sonette writes, I know I am loved when I feel safe, protected, and free to be myself without being criticized, judged, or altered. Seen as you are, yes. Also, I know I am loved when someone truly accepts me after knowing everything about me, yet desires for me to have my potential fully realized, providing a safe space for you to live as your connected self, to live in your truth, to live in your soul. Back to the comment. An environment of love cultivates honesty and authenticity, integrity, confidence, and strength. When you feel like you don't need to add anything to yourself to be enough, yet you feel like yourself and more. Yes. Like birds are meant for flying, humans are made for love. Boom. Jeff adds, safe able to be fully naked in my soul. No masks needed, nothing to protect myself from, and it all starts with me. Thanks for the segue. Ultimately, as important as it is to give and receive love, it ultimately starts within. It's learning to see ourselves and to connect to that core and embracing ourselves for who we really are. It is really hard to do. Sometimes we don't not want to look in that mirror, you know? But it's so important that we do. Because when we're connected to ourselves, even if the validation doesn't come from the outside world, you're still safe, you're still secure, you're still whole, you're still true. I mean, you always were, and you always are, but you got to be able to see it. Um, I'm going to grab a couple more quick ones, and then I'm going to start to wind us down. Karen writes, it's in his kiss. Just kidding. To be fully accepted for who you are and appreciated for that unique personage. To be held in high esteem and yet accepted for the flawed human that you are. When you feel secure in the knowledge that that person will be there, will have your back, will hear you and listen. You can be vulnerable with this person and share that vulnerability. From Kelly. And I'm going to add one more from McKamey on Instagram. I know I'm loved by someone when their words and actions leave me feeling considered and safe. Amen. Kind of part of our base. We need to feel safe and secure and then build from there. I would love to hear more from people on this, so you're more than welcome to shoot me feedback. I am in most places on social media. You'll find me under the tag Beacon Road number 10. Let me put my banner back up, which doesn't help you if you're listening on the podcast, but it's going to be in the show notes. And you are invited to follow me in any or all of these places. And I love to hear what you have to say about this or anything else we bring up, because in the end, there's not a whole lot of absolute answers. There's a gazillion different takes. And everything's the truth to somebody. And we learn from having conversations. And that's part of the whole process of being seen, is to be able to have those deep conversations. And anytime we can encourage those, only good can come of it. And this will be up on the usual suspects in the next couple of days. So feel free to subscribe where you get your podcasts, and boom, there it is. If you're not already watching on YouTube, search Beacon Road with Rich Levesque. Lev is in Victor, E. S is in Sam, QUE. And I'm there. Please subscribe and help me spread the message far and wide. This is all about finding as many ways as we can to let people see that they're enough, they matter to their core. And we're going to keep talking about different things that help us to see that for ourselves. Because that's the golden ticket. When you believe in yourself and you trust yourself and you trust your stuff, the sky's the limit. Not just for any one person, but for each person that taps into that, there's a ripple effect. And that's how things change in this world. It's not top down, it's bottom up. And I think that's going to be about all I've got to say today. So for those who checked in and checked me out, thank you very much. And if you found value in this, please, share, spread the word. Trying to do some good stuff here. So thank you. Thank you for your support. Take care. Be safe and be well.